I am seeking a divorce. Emma Sullivan Cooper halted, her coffee cup suspended mid-air, as she gazed at her husband from across the immaculate kitchen island. What was that you just mentioned? Dr. Michael Cooper adjusted his tie with meticulous care, his actions deliberate and measured as ever. You understood me. I have reflected on this deeply. 5 years of marriage, and that's everything you can express. Emma's hand quivered slightly as she placed her cup on the table. Following all that we've experienced together. That is precisely the reason. 3 years of effort, Emma. 3 years of letdowns. The morning sun poured through the penthouse windows, casting a stark contrast against the shadows of the moment. Emma reminisced about their initial encounter at the annual fundraiser of Seattle Grace Hospital, where the talented young neurosurgeon captivated her with his charisma and drive. We haven't even completed the fertility testing, she argued. Dr. Chen mentioned that further tests are unnecessary to confirm what is already clear. Michael glanced at his Rolex, a habit that Emma had come to despise. By the time he reached my age, my father had already welcomed 3 children into the world. His father possessed 4. Ah, so this is the essence of it all, the formidable Cooper medical legacy. Michael's jaw clenched. I am scheduled for a morning craniotomy. The documents are set to arrive at your office today. Your timing is flawless, as ever, Dr. Cooper. Emma's voice was laced with irony. Performing brain surgery immediately after breaking your wife's heart. I'm being realistic. It's clear that this isn't functioning as it should. He seized his briefcase. The apartment is available to you until you discover another option. I will be residing at the Four Seasons. Michael. Emma's voice halted him just before he could step outside. Did you ever truly care for me, or was I merely a piece in your ideal life puzzle? He hesitated, fingers resting on the doorknob. Affection alone cannot bridge the gaps created by deep-seated differences. Basic conflicts. Emma let out a harsh laugh. That's a rather detached way of expressing that I am unable to have children. You're a mental health professional, Emma. It's clear that there are moments when tough choices must be made for the sake of future prosperity. It seems to me that you lack courage. She rose, her shoulders held high. One must mature before taking on the responsibility of raising children. Michael's expression grew steely. I have come to a conclusion. The attorneys will take care of all matters. Once he departed, Emma remained in the kitchen of their upscale apartment, enveloped by the symbols of their seemingly flawless existence. The wedding photos, the coordinated appliances, the calendar filled with upcoming fertility appointments, everything they had created together was falling apart. And all because her body had not met his expectations. Her phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. A message from her sister, Rachel. How about lunch today? Emma responded with trembling fingers. Indeed, everything has crumbled. He is departing. Rachel's reply came swiftly, that arrogant fool. I'm on my way to you now. Emma surveyed the kitchen, the scene of her final breakfast as Mrs. Cooper. 5 years prior, she was known as Emma Sullivan, an emerging talent in the field of child psychology, characterized by her independence and strength. At some point, she had become so consumed with the idea of being the ideal partner for the ideal physician that she had lost sight of who she truly was. Once more, her phone vibrated. A message alert from Michael's attorney. She removed it without giving it a glance. No matter what lay ahead, she would confront it in her own way, not his. She strolled to the window, observing the rhythmic dance of Seattle's morning traffic below her. Amidst the chaos of vehicles, Michael navigated his way to the hospital, likely envisioning his ideal future with a partner who could provide him with the heirs he yearned for. You're adrift, Dr. Cooper, she murmured to the glass. You find yourself adrift. Amid the familiar morning turmoil of Seattle Grace Hospital, Michael Cooper moved through the corridors, oblivious to the surrounding hustle and bustle. Nurses and residents moved aside for him as if he were a force of nature, sensing the tempest in his gaze. Dr. Cooper. A youthful resident hurriedly jogged to close the distance. Have you received the scans from your craniotomy patient? Direct them to my office, Michael interrupted, maintaining his pace. Upon arriving at his office, he closed the door and paused for a moment, leaning against it. A line of framed photographs on his desk drew his attention. 3 generations of Cooper men in their white coats, his grandfather, Richard Cooper, a pioneer of neurosurgery in Seattle, his father, James Cooper, the current head of the hospital board, and himself, treading the path that had been set before him since birth. The sound of his phone pierced the silence. In discussing legacy, the weight of expectation in his father's voice was unmistakable. Your mother mentioned that she spotted Emma at the grocery store yesterday, once more by herself. Michael pressed his fingers against the bridge of his nose. This morning, I initiated the process of divorce. A prolonged silence. I understand. You were correct. It's time we stop waiting, my boy. When I suggested exploring other avenues, I was referring to fertility treatments, not separation. What's the purpose? Michael sank into his chair. 3 years of effort, and still no results. An heir is essential for the Cooper lineage. Do you really believe that ending a 5-year marriage is the solution? You were the one who continually inquired about grandchildren at every family gathering. Please don't assign this to me. Escaping isn't in the Cooper tradition. Michael's laugh carried a sharp edge of bitterness. No, the Cooper way embodies a relentless pursuit of excellence. Flawless professions, ideal families, impeccable lives. You resemble your sister, Catherine. Catherine exited the scene. Perhaps she possessed a greater intellect than any of us. His father's tone grew stern. Your sister left her medical residency behind to pursue a life as an artist in Paris. That's certainly not a standard to emulate. A sudden knock at the door broke the silence. Michael's resident returned, clutching the scan results. I must leave, Michael stated. Morning craniotomy. This conversation is far from over. Indeed, we are. I have come to a conclusion. Michael ended the call before his father had a chance to reply. The resident stepped inside with care. Dr. Cooper, Mrs. Henderson's scans. Michael concentrated on the visuals, setting aside any thoughts of Emma and his father. Here was an arena where he held the reins, the meticulous choreography of blade and expertise, the sharp contours of surgical mastery. Reserve the operating room, he commanded. And please have Dr. Chin come to me. Contacting the fertility clinic via phone. The inhabitant blinked in astonishment. Excuse me, is this not for a consultation? Please ensure that all my test results are transferred to my personal file. I never returned for them. But don't you have a curiosity to uncover? What I desire, Michael stated with a chill in his voice, is to fulfill my responsibilities. Reserve the operating room. Once the resident departed, Michael found himself gazing at his family photos once more. 3 generations of exceptional surgeons gazed at him, their expectations pressing down on him as if they were a tangible force. His phone vibrated with a message from Caroline West, the newly appointed PR director at the hospital. Meeting over lunch to discuss the fundraiser for the pediatric wing. He responded swiftly, can't. Operation. Her reply was swift, dinner it is then. You seemed in need of a sympathetic listener. Michael paused for a moment, then consented. Anything was preferable to yet another night spent in solitude with his own reflections. He took hold of his scrubs and made his way to the OR, a place where clarity reigned and achievements could be quantified in straightforward, uncomplicated terms. No chaotic feelings. Free from familial obligations. There have been no unsuccessful efforts in the pursuit of creating life. In the meticulously ordered realm of surgery, he remained the undisputed ruler of his surroundings. Emma settled into her therapy office, observing 8-year-old Tyler as he constructed a castle with wooden blocks. Her notes rested neglected in her lap, while the echoes of that morning's clash with Michael persistently invaded her thoughts. At times, Tyler remarked thoughtfully, as he studied another block, when unfortunate events occur, it isn't necessarily our doing. Emma's gaze shot upward. What leads you to that conclusion? That's what you mentioned to me last week, Tyler shrugged. I take responsibility for my parents' divorce. A tightness constricted her throat. Did you recall? Your expression seems a bit down today. Dr. Emma. Tyler placed the last block atop his tower. Similar to the way my mother appeared. Just as Emma was about to reply, her office phone let out a buzz. Dr. Sullivan, your sister Rachel has arrived. Thank you very much. Tyler, we'll wrap things up in about 5 minutes, sound good? Once she finished with Tyler and sent him back to his parents, Emma noticed Rachel pacing in her waiting room. I have reinforcements, Rachel declared, lifting a paper bag triumphantly. Delicious chocolate croissants from your favorite French bakery. They made themselves comfortable in Emma's office, and Rachel unveiled the pastries. Share all the details. He didn't bother to wait for the test results. Emma delicately nibbled at her croissant. After 3 years of effort, he finally decided to throw in the towel. Has he ever undergone testing himself? Negative. He declined. Claimed there was absolutely nothing amiss with him. Emma's laughter echoed emptily. The esteemed Dr. Cooper, continuing the legacy of his father's abundant creativity. Speaking of the devil, has James reached out yet? There are 2 missed calls. I'm not prepared to confront the turmoil of the Cooper family. Rachel extended her arm over the desk and took hold of Emma's hand. Come live with me. Only for the time being while you sort everything out. My patients are my priority, I can't abandon them. Portland has affected children as well. Rachel tightened her grip. And a dwindling number of memories of Michael Cooper. Emma's phone vibrated, signaling a message from Dr. Chen's office. The results of the test are now available for your examination. Are you interested in setting up a consultation? What's the purpose at this moment? Emma whispered under her breath, dismissing the notification. Perhaps understanding would provide some clarity, Rachel proposed. Assistance with what? Before breakfast, my husband left me. Understanding won't alter that. No, however. Rachel was cut off by yet another buzz emanating from Emma's phone. Michael, your signature is required by the lawyers. I will be arriving at your office at 6. Emma responded with a message. Just skip it. I will ensure that all documents are forwarded to your attorney. Rachel began. I must get to work. Emma organized her papers with precision. Today, I have 3 additional patients to attend to. Will you consider Portland? I assure you I'll consider the possibility of considering it. Once Rachel departed, Emma fixed her gaze on her schedule. 3 additional young souls navigating the complexities of trauma and loss. 3 additional opportunities to assist another in their healing, even as her own heart shattered. The office phone buzzed once more. Dr. Sullivan, your upcoming patient has arrived. Emma inhaled deeply, squared her shoulders, and set her discomfort aside. Her patients relied on Dr. Sullivan, the composed and reassuring child psychologist. Emma Cooper, the woman facing the unraveling of her marriage, found herself in a position of waiting. Send them in, she said, steeling herself to confront yet another child's suffering, all while grappling with her own heartache. Clear, Michael announced, his hands unwavering as he maneuvered through the intricate neural tissue. Draw in here. The operating room lay in hushed stillness, punctuated only by the rhythmic beeping of monitors and the gentle clinking of instruments. This was his refuge, a place where only the challenge at hand and his capacity to confront it mattered. Dr. Cooper, his resident murmured. Blood pressure is decreasing. I perceive it. He remained focused on the microscope, not lifting his gaze. Administer 10 units of ephedrine. The door to the operating room swung open. Dr. Cooper. The soothing tone of a caregiver. Dr. Chen is waiting on line 1. She claims it's urgent. I find myself amidst a craniotomy. Deliver a message. After hours had passed and the surgery was successfully completed, Michael was at the sink scrubbing his hands when the chief of surgery walked in. What a stunning save in there, Cooper. Dr. Patterson observed him as he cleaned meticulously. I've heard some things about you and Emma. Would you like to discuss it? No topics to discuss. Michael wiped his hands dry. Neat edges. The patient is currently stable. That's not what I intended to convey. I understand your point. Michael pivoted to confront his mentor. Today, I have 3 additional surgeries scheduled. Could we bypass the personal details? Patterson lifted his hands in a gesture of capitulation. Keep in mind that divorce can impact surgical performance. Allow yourself the time you require. I do not. As Michael strolled through the hospital corridors, he overheard fragments of hushed conversations that fell silent in his presence. Word spread quickly within the walls of the hospital. Dr. Cooper. Caroline West emerged from the elevator. Regarding that dinner. Not this evening, Caroline. It's essential to nourish yourself. She matched his pace as she walked alongside him. It's essential to discuss the campaign for the pediatric wing. The board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow. Michael came to a halt. All right. It is 8 o'clock. The new spot on First Street. I will secure the reservations. She examined his features intently. You seem weary. I'm doing well. Deceiver. Her lips curved into a smile. It is 8 o'clock. Please don't leave me waiting. In his office, Michael discovered a pile of messages waiting for him. 3 inherited from his father. 2 from the office of Dr. Chen. A communication from his attorney. He brushed them aside and opened the file for his next patient. A sudden rap on the door. This time, it's Dr. Chen herself. Michael, we must have a conversation. I have a lot on my plate right now. The results of your test. Forward those to my attorney. He kept his gaze fixed downward. I have clients. This holds significant value. Indeed, brain surgery is a complex procedure. At last, he locked eyes with her. Our time together has come to an end, Sarah. Once she departed, Michael fixated on his computer screen, yet it remained a blur to him. The phrases melded into one another as Emma's voice resonated in his mind. Did you ever truly love me? The phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. Caroline, I've adjusted the reservation to 7. An early night is in order. He consented. Thankful for the diversion. Anything to steer clear of returning to a vacant penthouse brimming with memories and lingering uncertainties. The remainder of his day unfolded in a haze of procedures and discussions. Every procedure offers a delightful reprieve from the everyday world. In the operating room, he remained Dr. Michael Cooper. Exceptional neurosurgeon. Out there, he was merely another unsuccessful member of the Cooper lineage. Struggling to meet the expectations set by his legacy. Dr. Sarah Chen sat at her desk, her gaze fixed on 2 manila envelopes. One marked as Cooper, Michael. Sullivan Cooper, the other one, Emma. The revelation that might have transformed everything, concealed within complex medical terminology and hormonal measurements. Her phone vibrated softly. Emma, I need to cancel my follow-up appointment. I appreciate all that you have done. Sarah reached for her office phone. Janet, please obtain Dr. Cooper's surgical schedule for me. He'll be in the operating room from 3 to 4, followed by consecutive consultations until 7. And what about Mrs. Cooper? Ms. Sullivan's workspace. The receptionist informs that she is not accepting calls from the hospital. Sarah tapped her fingers rhythmically on her desk. 5 years of caring for them. Observing their battle. And now we have this. A gentle rap on her door. Michael's father is James Cooper. Dr. Chen. He shut the door softly, sealing off the world outside. We need to talk about my son's situation. I'm afraid that's not possible for me. Confidentiality between a doctor and patient. Absolutely. He took a seat, without an invitation. As a member of the hospital board and his father, I find myself troubled by the possibility of him jeopardizing his marriage without fully understanding the situation. Do you have his results? Sarah brushed her fingers over the envelope. I certainly do. I'm afraid that topic is off limits for me. James inclined his body, eager to engage. Sarah, our paths have crossed since your time in residency. The young lad is heading down the wrong path. He must receive that message directly from you. He refuses to hear. James rose to his feet. However, he may be open to considering medical evidence. Once he departed, Sarah took a moment to open Michael's envelope for the final time. The figures were unmistakable. Reduced sperm movement. Count is less than expected. Addressable with patience and appropriate measures. What are Emma's results? There are no notable concerns. The intercom emitted a sharp buzz. Dr. Cooper's door has just swung open. He is on the path to healing. With determination, Sarah seized Michael's envelope and made her way to the surgical floor. She discovered him at the nurse's station, composing post-op orders. Michael, please don't keep your distance from me. I am currently engaged in my tasks. Your father just visited my office. That captured his interest. What did you say to him? Silence prevails. However, I must insist that you take a look at these results now. I must attend to my patient. The issue doesn't lie with your wife. With a sudden motion, Sarah propelled the envelope toward him. Indeed, you are. Michael gazed at the envelope as if it were a creature ready to strike. This is not a priority for me right now. Prioritize your relationship, as you may be jeopardizing your marriage due to misguided beliefs. You simply don't grasp it. Clearly, there's a misunderstanding here. Sarah's voice elevated. This can be managed, Michael. Yet rather than confronting the issue, you're evading it and placing the blame on Emma. The nurses feigned indifference as Michael finally accepted the envelope. Read it, Sarah instructed. Consider whether your pride is truly worth the cost of 2 lives. She turned and left, leaving him grasping the reality he had long dreaded to confront. In her office, Emma's results lay dormant, a silent reminder of opportunities squandered by trepidation and arrogance. With a determined breath, Sarah reached for her phone and dialed Emma's office once more. This time, a message was left by her. Your results fall within the normal range. Every single one. Reach out to me when you're prepared to have a conversation. The legal document reached Emma's office right at 2 p.m., brought in by a courier dressed sharply in a crisp suit. With an apologetic expression, Jenny, the receptionist, brought it in. Shall I dispose of it? Emma forced a faint smile. Alluring, yet I must decline. She grasped the envelope. Please refrain from forwarding any calls for the next hour. By herself, Emma gazed at the documents. The petition for the dissolution of marriage was prominently displayed in bold letters. Underneath, Michael's signature, the recognizable flourish of a surgeon's hand. Her phone illuminated with a voicemail alert from Sarah Chen. Emma's finger lingered above the play button, hesitating before ultimately pulling back. No matter what the outcomes indicated, they held no significance any longer. A sudden knock broke the silence of her contemplation. Once more, it's Jenny. Dr. Sullivan, the mother of Tyler, has arrived ahead of schedule. She appears to be troubled. Bring her in. Lisa Parker stepped inside, her hands twisting nervously. I apologize for arriving without a prior appointment. What seems to be the issue? Is Tyler doing all right? He mentioned that you appeared to be feeling down today. Lisa took a seat. Then I learned from another parent about. I wanted to reach out and see how you're doing. Emma felt a constriction in her throat. I'm doing well. Absolutely not. Lisa inclined her body, eager and attentive. When Tom departed from my life, you were present. I'd like to repay your kindness. Thank you for that, however. Yet, there was nothing. We're heading out for some coffee. At this moment. 20 minutes later, they found themselves in the quaint cafe situated just across from Emma's office. Lisa swirled her latte thoughtfully, while Emma gazed into her untouched cup, lost in her own thoughts. Have you informed your patients? Lisa inquired. Not at this moment. I must determine the best way to manage the transitions. It seems you are departing. Emma lifted her gaze. I'm uncertain. My sister is urging me to relocate to Portland. Fleeing won't solve anything, Lisa's tone was soft. Believe me, I gave that a shot. It's not escaping if there's nothing to escape from. Emma took a moment to savor her coffee. Michael decided without pausing for the test results. That's quite chilly. That is Michael. Everything must be flawless, including his wife's reproductive health. They lingered in quietude for a moment, observing the flow of life outside the window. Lisa spoke softly, mentioning that Tyler occasionally inquires about his father. I reveal the truth to him. Adults are fallible, and at times, their errors can cause pain to those they care about. Is that truly what this is? An error? That knowledge resides solely with Michael. Lisa glanced at her watch. I ought to return to my tasks. However, Emma, do not allow his decisions to shape who you are. Once Lisa departed, Emma made her way back to her office, weaving through the bustling afternoon crowds. The divorce papers lay on her desk, ominous and poised for detonation. Her phone vibrated once more, yet another message from Sarah Chen. This time, Emma pressed delete with unwavering resolve. Certain truths are best kept in the shadows. She grasped her pen, her hand lingering just above the signature line. A single mark of ink to conclude 5 years of union. A single signature to reclaim the identity of Emma Sullivan once more. The pen met the paper, and in that moment, Emma sensed a shift within her, a fracture and a renewal, more resilient yet transformed. Similar to a fracture that mends over time, she reflected. Always evolving, yet sturdy enough to create a foundation. This isn't running away, Emma told Rachel as they drove north on I-5, the windshield wipers battling the relentless drizzle. It's a calculated withdrawal. Whatever brings you peace at the end of the day. Rachel shifted her lane. Although you haven't engaged in that activity much recently. The U-Haul trailing behind them held the remnants of Emma's existence. Clothes, books, patient files, and meticulously wrapped photo albums that she had yet to summon the courage to unveil. The practice is calling, Emma said. They are thrilled for my start next week. Absolutely, they are. You are an exceptional child psychologist in Seattle. Existed. It was unparalleled in Seattle. Rachel cast a glance her way. You're catching my drift. As they drove by the Welcome to Portland sign, Emma's phone suddenly illuminated. Once more, it's Michael's attorney. She chose not to answer the call. Hasn't signed the papers yet? Rachel inquired. Negative. 3 weeks and still going strong. Shall I give him a call? I have a collection of carefully selected phrases ready to go. Allow the legal experts to take care of it. Emma observed the raindrops as they hurriedly made their way down the windowpane. I simply wish for it to come to an end. They arrived at Emma's new apartment building in the Pearl District, sleek and unremarkable, a stark contrast to the opulent high-rise she had once shared with Michael. Home, sweet home, Rachel declared. The apartment, though compact, radiated warmth and light, featuring elegant hardwood floors and charming exposed brick walls. Emma's footsteps resonated in the vacant expanse. The furniture arrives tomorrow, Rachel said, placing a box on the ground. Feel free to stay over at my place tonight. Negative. I possess an air mattress. It's time for me to begin getting comfortable. I'm doing well. Is that so? Rachel appeared skeptical. Shall we have dinner later? The Thai restaurant I mentioned to you? Let's reschedule. I need to sort through my office belongings. I will begin seeing patients on Monday. Once Rachel departed, Emma found herself perched on her air mattress, encircled by boxes marked with Jenny's meticulous handwriting, filled with office supplies. Records of individuals receiving care. Individual. The device vibrated in her pocket. Once more, it's Sarah Chen. Kindly give me a call. The outcomes hold significant value. Emma began to type, thank you, but I've relocated to Portland. Kindly send any medical records to. It was removed. Some bridges are best left in ashes. A message from Michael surfaced. The attorney mentioned that you have relocated. It's time for a conversation. Emma responded with a message. There's really nothing to discuss. Please sign the documents. She powered down her phone and lifted the lid of the box labeled office. Enclosed within layers of bubble wrap lay her diploma. Dr. Emma Sullivan, Ph.D. Not Cooper. She never truly felt like Cooper, if she was being honest. The rain intensified outside, a rhythmic tapping on her new windows. The rain in Portland, she mused. Distinct from the rain in Seattle. Renewing downpour. She placed her diploma on the empty wall, the initial symbol of her fresh journey. By Monday, she would possess a new office. New clients. A fresh routine. The former Emma could have faltered beneath the burden of beginning anew. Yet, Emma had passed away on the very morning her husband prioritized his legacy above their love. Emma had tasks to complete. The atmosphere in the boardroom at Seattle Grace grew still as Michael concluded his presentation. 12 pairs of eyes scrutinized him, with his father's discerning stare fixed at the head of the table. Thus, Michael determined that the addition of the new surgical wing would allow us to enhance neurosurgical capacity by 40%. Dr. Patterson was the first to speak. Remarkable figures, Cooper. However, the timing. The moment is just right, Caroline West interjected seamlessly. Seattle Grace requires this expansion to maintain its edge in the competitive landscape. Michael locked eyes with her, a silent expression of gratitude for the unwavering support she offered. After 3 months of collaborating with her on this proposal, he had learned the importance of an effective PR director. The expense is considerable, James Cooper remarked, rearranging the documents in front of him. The returns will be higher, Michael countered. With Dr. Patterson's retirement approaching next month, the new wing will pave the way for his successor. In the midst of discussing succession, his father interjected. The board is set to cast their votes on the new chief of neurosurgery today. The atmosphere grew heavy. It was clear to all that Michael was in the lead, yet the recent developments regarding Dr. Cooper's personal circumstances should not influence the voting outcome. My personal situation doesn't matter, Michael interrupted decisively. My surgical record is a testament to my expertise. James Cooper observed his son intently. The rate of complications following surgery has increased by 12% over the past month. Still significantly under the national average, yet not meeting Cooper's expectations. The words lingered in the atmosphere, heavy with consequence. Michael sensed his jaw tighten. Everyone supports Dr. Michael Cooper for the position of Chief of Neurosurgery. Dr. Patterson announced the vote. Hands lifted in unison around the table. Michael tallied, 8, 9, 10. The motion has been approved, Patterson declared. Well done, Dr. Cooper. The gathering concluded with warm handshakes and heartfelt congratulations. Caroline locked eyes with him and silently gestured, dinner. Finally, his father made his way over. Please ensure that this vote does not lead to regret. When have I ever let you down? Michael's voice oozed with irony. The documents for your divorce remain without a signature. That's a private matter. This hospital operates on a strictly professional level. James held on to his son's shoulder firmly. Make the necessary adjustments. By any means necessary. In the solitude of his office, Michael's gaze lingered on the divorce papers tucked away in his desk drawer. Emma's signature stood out boldly on the pristine paper, while his line remained untouched and empty. The phone vibrated in his pocket. Caroline, enjoying the festivities at Canlis, 8 p.m. He consented, embracing the diversion. The most youthful individual to hold the position of chief of neurosurgery in the history of the hospital. It ought to resonate with a sense of victory. Instead, he sensed the burden of expectations bearing down more intensely than ever before. Standards of excellence, a legacy of distinction, a pursuit of perfection. Sarah Chen's test results lingered in another drawer, untouched. Certain realities are best concealed beneath the weight of success and aspiration. His phone vibrated once more, a message from Emma. Please sign the documents. Michael gently shut the drawer, a soft click echoing in the quiet room. This evening was dedicated to honoring achievements, rather than fixating on setbacks. He had accomplished all his dreams, hadn't he? Emma found herself in Dr. Miranda Foster's office, her hands nervously entwined in her lap. The fertility specialist in Portland examined her file, her lips pressed together in contemplation. Dr. Foster remarked that your earlier results from Seattle appear promising. Have you thought about using an anonymous donor for insemination? That's the reason I'm here, Emma responded. Choosing to be a single mother. Dr. Foster raised his gaze. It's increasingly prevalent. For 3 years, I allowed another person to dictate the narrative of my fertility journey. Emma squared her shoulders. I'm prepared to create my own. Dr. Foster gave a thoughtful nod. Let's explore possibilities. An hour later, Emma found herself in her car, gripping a folder filled with donor profiles. 3 missed calls from Rachel appeared on her phone. Where might you be? Rachel insisted when Emma returned the call. You skipped lunch and the doctor's appointment. Would you be able to come over this evening? Are you feeling unwell? I have something important to share with you. Rachel showed up with a bottle of wine and some delicious Thai cuisine. Emma accepted the food but declined the wine. All right, go on, Rachel said, making herself comfortable on Emma's new couch. Your behavior is quite unusual. Emma passed her the folder. Rachel's eyes grew large as she absorbed the words on the page. Are you kidding me? I've reached my limit of relying on others to fulfill my desires. But a baby by themselves? Rachel paused, uncertainty flickering in her mind. Every day, I provide guidance to single parents, Emma remarked. Powerful ones. Joyful moments. That's different, Rachel remarked, placing the folder on the table. As my younger sister, you hold a special place in my heart, and I can't help but feel concerned. I don't need to worry. I require assistance. How is your practice going? You have only just begun your journey here. I have already spoken with the partners. They offer encouragement. Emma grasped her sister's hand. I have never felt more certain about anything. Rachel remained silent for an extended period. Is Michael aware? Michael forfeited his right to any knowledge the moment he chose to leave. He has yet to put his signature down. No, but I refuse to wait any longer. Emma grasped her sister's hand tightly. I am prioritizing my own well-being, my aspirations, and my loved ones. Rachel enveloped her in a warm embrace. Then I stand by you completely. Later, in the solitude of her apartment, Emma revisited the donor profiles, examining the images and medical histories of men who could assist her in building the family she had always dreamed of. Her phone illuminated, a message from Michael's attorney, a request for a meeting to go over the terms. Emma replied, there was nothing to talk about. Documents in their current form. She redirected her attention to the profiles, exploring the myriad of possibilities, choices, and futures that lay within her grasp. Tomorrow, she would reach out to Dr. Foster. Tomorrow, she would embark on the journey toward her new life. This evening, she permitted herself to envision a family founded on affection instead of duty. A child cherished for their own essence, rather than the weight of a dynasty's aspirations. The rain in Portland danced softly against her windows, a tender nudge that new life required nourishment to flourish. Two of a kind. Emma held on to the ultrasound monitor tightly. Do you really think so? Dr. Foster gestured towards the screen. Two pulses of life. Powerful ones. Emma reclined on the exam table, her gaze fixed on the two delicate flutters. After 6 months of effort, the IVF had finally succeeded. Exceeded expectations. Take your time, Dr. Foster remarked, stepping out gracefully. Emma extended her trembling hands toward her phone. Rachel, do you have a moment to chat? What seems to be the issue? Has it encountered another setback? Absolutely not. Emma's voice trembled. It was successful. Are there twins? Rachel's piercing cry caused Emma to jerk the phone away from her ear. I will be arriving shortly. Stay right where you are. I remain at the clinic. Then I shall make my way there. Do not even think about leaving. Emma pressed her fingers against the screen, observing the two lives that throbbed in shades of gray. Their offspring. Only hers. Rachel strode in 20 minutes later, her chef's apron still draped around her. Reveal it to me. Dr. Foster arrived, armed with printouts and a wealth of information, prepared to discuss the details of logistics. The following hour unfolded in a whirlwind of medical jargon, advice, and cautions. Pregnancy with elevated risks. Additional oversight. Potential for bed rest. Your practice offers a commendable maternity leave policy. Dr. Foster inquired. Emma gave a slight nod. Half a year's salary. I have already had a conversation with them. Is there a system in place for support? She possesses me, Rachel declared with conviction. Later, in Emma's apartment, Rachel laid out the ultrasound photos on the coffee table. They resemble beans, she remarked. Emma concurred, the beans were flawless. My legumes. Have you considered names? Emma mentioned Sophie and Lily. Those names would have brought her so much joy. Rachel's voice took on a gentle quality. She would be incredibly proud of you. Emma's phone vibrated, a message from Michael's attorney once more, a last warning before legal action. She removed it without delving deeper. Allow them to bring it before the court. Nothing could diminish her happiness. Today, the nursery requires a pair of everything, Rachel reflected. It's great that you secured the 2-bedroom apartment. It's fortunate that I have a sister who bakes when she's feeling enthusiastic. Emma gently caressed her smooth, flat stomach. These little ones are going to require plenty of Aunt Rachel's delicious croissants. Are you already envisioning the perfect cake for their first birthday? Rachel embraced her sister. You are destined to excel in this endeavor. That evening, Emma reclined in her bed, her hands gently placed on her abdomen. Two of a kind. A family waiting to blossom within her. Her phone glowed for the final time. Michael, I heard you're still in Portland. It's time for a conversation. Emma switched off her phone. She had more pressing matters to attend to now, 2 heartbeats, 2 futures, 2 reasons to appreciate his departure. Occasionally, the most disappointing conclusions pave the way for the most promising new starts. Caroline, we require those quarterly reports at your earliest convenience. Michael came to an abrupt halt. Caroline West stood in his office, clutching a well-known manila envelope. Came across this while sorting through materials for the board review. She raised Dr. Chen's envelope high. It remains unopened. That information is confidential. It slipped out of your old case files. She set it down on his desk, accompanied by these. She let a pile of papers fall beside it, denials for insurance claims regarding fertility treatments. Emma's mark on a multitude of requests. 3 years of recorded hardship. Those are private medical documents. Those are evidence that you chose to escape rather than confront reality. Caroline's voice cut through the air with precision. The head of neurosurgery. Michael sank into his chair with a weighty sigh. You simply don't get it. I comprehend a great deal. Yesterday, your father confronted me, inquiring about the holdup in finalizing your divorce. He should keep his distance from my private affairs. Keep in mind, there's nothing personal in this hospital. Caroline imitated James Cooper's style. What you express. She sat gracefully on the edge of his desk. Examine the findings, Michael. It holds no significance now. She has moved to Portland, creating a new existence apart from you. Caroline wrapped her fingers against the envelope. Isn't it worth considering whether you jeopardized your marriage in vain? Michael gazed intently at the envelope. 3 months of evasion. For 3 months, he immersed himself in work, focusing on the planning of the new wing, and engaging in occasional dinners with Caroline that led nowhere, as they both understood he wasn't prepared for anything more. What if, he cleared his throat, what if it conveys what I believe it conveys? Are you saying that you are the reason for not having children? Caroline's voice took on a gentler tone. Then you handle it. Similar to a physician. As the leading figure in neurosurgery, that's the role you are meant to embody. She made her way to the door. Take a moment to read it. Perhaps it's time to step out from the shadow of your father's legacy and begin crafting your own path. Isolated. Michael grasped the envelope. Within the confines of the room, figures and clinical jargon leapt forth, demanding attention. Reduced movement. Count is below average. Addressable through intervention. His phone vibrated with a sudden buzz. His father. The date for the divorce proceedings has been scheduled in court. Please make the necessary corrections. Michael's grip on the test results grew firmer. For all this time, he placed the blame on Emma. For all this time, he had been mistaken. He extended his hand toward his phone, but hesitated. What could he possibly express? Apologies for the ruin of our marriage, as my pride prevented me from confronting my own shortcomings. A sharp buzz emanated from the intercom. Dr. Cooper, the craniotomy scheduled for 3 o'clock is ready for you. Michael adjusted his coat, carefully placing the results back into their envelope. Prioritize surgery. Truth will come in due time. Eventually, perhaps. Michael gazed at his reflection in the surgical scrub room, recognizing his father's features mirrored in his own face. The identical resolute jaw. The identical unwavering stare. Dr. Cooper. A nurse peeked in. Your father is in your office. States that it's urgent. I am preparing for surgery. He stated, and I quote, inform him that it concerns Emma Sullivan. Michael's hands paused beneath the surface of the water. What about her story? It's simply a matter of urgency. In his office, James Cooper gazed out the window, his hands resting clasped behind him. The Portland Children's Hospital reached out. Michael wiped his hands dry. What would motivate them to do that? She is being recruited. Presenting her expertise in pediatric psychology. His father pivoted. Have you heard? She has published 3 papers since relocating there. I did not. While you've been concealing yourself with surgeries, she's been crafting a name for herself. James flung a journal onto the desk. The cover features Emma's name prominently. The board took note. Could you clarify what you mean? A new trauma center is being constructed in Portland. They are looking for her to lead the child psychology department. James took a seat. Seattle Grace was contemplating the same proposal. Michael reached for the journal. She was never going to return. Absolutely not, she wouldn't. James observed his son intently. You are transforming into my reflection, Michael. Isn't that what you were hoping for? I wished for your success. Not alone. James rose to his feet. I once drove your mother away. Nearly lost all that was truly significant. This is unique. Could it be? James made his way toward the door. Peruse her manuscript. Then gaze into the mirror and confess that you don't see my greatest failures reflected in your eyes. Once his father departed, Michael began to peruse the journal. Emma's exploration of childhood resilience following parental abandonment. Stories of children reconstructing their lives following loss. The screen of his phone illuminated. Caroline, shall we have dinner tonight? He refused. After months of searching, he finally found something that captured his attention more than anything else. Emma's words danced across the pages. Polished yet infused with the familiarity and comfort of their initial encounters. When did he cease to perceive that warmth? When did he become so consumed by the idea of legacy that he lost sight of love? A faint buzz emanated from the intercom. Dr. Cooper, the operating room is ready for you. Michael closed the journal with a sense of finality. Yet another surgery. Yet another getaway. Yet, the echoes of his father's words lingered. You are transforming into my essence. In the mirror of the scrub room, the truth became unmistakably evident to him. The identical errors. The identical sense of pride. The identical solitude. Emma fine-tuned her presentation slides for the final time. The Seattle Medical Psychology Conference. Of all the places, this was where she had to present. Is this Dr. Sullivan? A conference organizer made contact. You have 5 minutes until you're up. Is that you, Anne? Dr. Cooper is present among the audience. Emma paused, her fingers hovering above the keys of her laptop. Which Dr. Cooper are we referring to? Indeed, both. And the newly appointed PR director. Flawless. Her whole past neatly arranged, observing as she shares her experiences of childhood trauma and the strength that emerged from it. Rachel tightened her grip on her arm. Would you like me to craft a diversion? I might activate the fire alarm. This is something I can manage. Emma adjusted her blazer, carefully steering clear of her now visible pregnancy bump. Half a year in. Unavoidable to conceal. The opening commenced. Introducing our next speaker, Dr. Emma Sullivan, hailing from Portland Children's Hospital. Emma approached the podium, advancing to her initial slide with a click. She averted her gaze from the audience. Instead, she dedicated her attention to her research. Young ones triumphing over neglect. Families in the process of reconstruction. The power that emerges from beginning anew. After she finished, the moderator posed questions. A voice that felt like home echoed from the rear. Dr. Sullivan, could you elaborate on how your findings relate to situations where parental abandonment is linked to medical challenges? Michael. Naturally, he would pose that question. The reason for abandonment is of lesser importance than how one reacts to it, Emma replied calmly. Kids show an incredible ability to adjust when they receive the right guidance and a solid foundation. Across the vast expanse of the auditorium, their gazes intertwined. He appeared weary. Somehow more aged. Caroline West positioned herself next to him, diligently jotting down notes. Following the session, Emma hurriedly collected her materials, though her pace was still a touch too slow. Emma. She pivoted. Michael lingered, his surgical coat draping awkwardly around him, an air of discomfort evident in his stance. Well done on the research, he remarked with a certain formality. Thanks a lot. She glided toward the door. He glanced down, his gaze falling to her midsection. Refrain. Emma took a step back. Your opinion on my life is no longer welcome. I reviewed the test results. Long overdue. Rachel emerged beside her. Is everything all right here? All right. Emma gently brushed her sister's arm. Are we heading out? As they strolled away, her ears caught the sound of James Cooper's voice. "Release her, my boy. Certain errors are beyond repair." In the hotel lobby, Emma rested against the wall, her hands cradling her bump with care. "Are you all right?" Rachel inquired. "More than just satisfactory." Emma sensed the gentle movements of her little ones. "I find myself precisely in the right place." Her phone vibrated softly. Children's Hospital in Portland. Concerning the offer for the position of department head. Emma beamed with delight. Some conclusions were truly new starts in disguise. Michael sat in solitude within his office, still clad in his conference attire, gazing intently at Emma's research paper. A faint buzz emanated from the intercom. "Dr. Cooper, your dad." "Not at this moment. He suggests tuning into the hospital news channel. Insights into Portland Children's Hospital." Michael switched on the television mounted on the wall. A media briefing. Emma standing confidently at a podium. "With this facility, we will be equipped to offer extensive psychological support to children and families facing crises," she remarked. The lens receded. Announcing her pregnancy. Michael's coffee cup tumbled from his grasp, shattering into pieces on the floor. "Were you unaware?" Caroline lingered at his threshold. "Twins," he uttered in a daze. "She is expecting twins. In vitro fertilization, I take it." Caroline stepped inside, gently shutting the door behind her. Considering the circumstances, she undertook it by herself. "No, Michael, that was your doing. You accomplished it by yourself." He switched off the television, yet the image lingered vividly in his thoughts, Emma, radiant and self-assured, crafting a new existence while he had been concealed within the sterile confines of operating rooms. Caroline mentioned softly that the board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow. "Portland is extending a partnership in the trauma center, fulfilling your father's wishes. Seattle Grace was a key player. Emma's program is revolutionary." Michael let out a harsh laugh. "So I'll be collaborating with my former spouse? Should she consent? This is her project." Caroline placed her hand gently on his shoulder. "Perhaps the moment has come to confront all that you have been avoiding." Once she departed, Michael retrieved his phone. The divorce papers lay untouched in his desk drawer. He picked up the phone and called Sarah Chen. At last, she responded. "I seek comprehensive information regarding my condition and the available treatment options." "What is the reason for this moment?" "Because I shattered something valuable out of fear." He observed the replay of Emma's press conference in silence. "I must overcome my fears. Please visit my office tomorrow." Sarah's voice took on a gentle quality. "There's still time to seek assistance, Michael. Regarding fertility? Perhaps." He reached out to the TV screen, his fingers brushing against the image of Emma, her hand resting gently on her pregnant belly. "However, for all other matters, it's best to take it one step at a time, Dr. Cooper. Progress unfolds gradually." Caroline discovered Michael in the hospital chapel, clad in the same surgical scrubs from the day before. "You missed the board meeting," she remarked, taking a seat next to him. "How did it turn out?" "The partnership with Portland has received approval." She offered him a steaming cup of coffee. "Your father cast his vote in favor." "Naturally, he did. Everything for the hospital standing." In truth, Caroline paused for a moment. He declared that it was time for the Cooper men to cease allowing their pride to ruin their families. Michael gazed at his untouched coffee. "I viewed her ultrasound images." "Excuse me." The organizer of the conference forgot her folder containing the medical presentation. It was intertwined with her slides. He retrieved his phone, presenting Caroline with the image. "Twin girls, Michael. She has chosen the names Sophie and Lily." His voice trembled. "I noticed it inscribed in the margin." Caroline grasped the phone delicately. "You should inform her that you came across these." "What is the reason?" Is that so she can dislike me even more? It's time to embrace honesty, both with her and within yourself. Caroline rose to her feet. I reached out to Dr. Chen. She is anticipating your arrival. I am undergoing surgeries. Absolutely not. Your schedule has been cleared. She lifted him up. No more fleeing. In Dr. Chen's office, Michael confronted the complete reality at last. Options for treatment, rates of success, all the things he had been too fearful to confront. It's within reach, Sarah concluded. Through dedication and perseverance. Just like all the other things I've steered clear of, Michael remarked. His phone vibrated, a notification from Emma. Quarterly meetings are essential for the Portland partnership. My assistant will handle the coordination. With a keen eye for detail, Sarah observed. Remote, Michael amended. Secure. She is shielding herself from my presence. He reflected on the ultrasound images, two small lives that might have woven into his narrative had he not been so entangled in the Cooper legacy. He instructed Sarah to begin the treatment. Not suitable for Emma. Not for my dad. For my own purposes. The rain in Seattle mirrored his somber feelings. For the first time in months, he faced it head-on instead of fleeing. At times, the truth proved to be the most difficult remedy to accept. The conference room at Portland Children's Hospital seemed inadequate for the weight of the tension it held. Emma positioned herself at one end of the table. Michael on the opposite side. Department heads and board members occupied the area in between. The merging of Seattle Grace's neurosurgery department with our trauma center became a mere hum in the background as Emma observed Michael diligently jotting down notes. He appeared transformed. More slender. There was more gray at his temples than she recalled. Dr. Sullivan, what are your insights regarding the psychological assessment protocol? Emma stood tall. Absolutely, thorough assessments will be necessary for every surgical case that includes pediatric patients. From the doorway, James Cooper announced that Dr. Cooper will personally oversee the neurosurgical aspects. Emma was completely unaware of his arrival. She stated with conviction, quarterly reviews. My department upholds its independence. Naturally, Michael expressed himself for the first time. The reputation of your program is self-evident. Once the meeting concluded, Emma hurriedly collected her papers, only to be intercepted by Michael at the elevator. Emma, hold on. Refrain. I viewed the ultrasound images. During the conference. She stood still. That was confidential. I understand. I apologize. He withdrew a pace. I simply. They are stunning. They don't belong to you. I'm aware of that as well. He swept his fingers through his hair. I am currently undergoing treatment. In the company of Dr. Chen. Emma pressed the elevator button once more. That's excellent. To you. I'm sharing this not with the intention of seeking a solution. I wanted to share that I'm finally confronting my challenges. The elevator has finally arrived. Emma entered the room with a quiet confidence. Sophie and Lily, he murmured gently. Excellent names. The doors shut abruptly, leaving him standing there. Emma rested against the wall, her hands cradling her belly as the twins danced energetically within her. Rachel's phone buzzed. How did it turn out? Just like a surgical procedure, Emma replied. Sharp edges. Little to no bleeding. At times, the sharpest cuts resulted in the most profound wounds. The Boston Medical Conference thrived with energy and engagement. Michael refined his presentation notes, casting a quick look at the audience as they entered for his lecture on advancements in pediatric neurosurgery. A recognizable laugh drew his focus near the entrance. Emma assisted the two little girls as they removed their coats. Two girls with lively brown curls and identical smiles. A man approached them, James Martinez, the husband of Emma. 2 years prior, Michael had come across their wedding announcement in the pages of the medical journal. "Are you prepared, Dr. Cooper?" The organizer of the conference gently placed a hand on his arm. "Absolutely." He averted his gaze from the scene by the door, directing his attention to the presentation screen. Later, at the reception, he observed from a distance as Emma received an award for her contributions to childhood trauma therapy. The twins joined James, their hands coming together in joyful applause for their mother. His phone vibrated, displaying a message from Sarah Chen. The test results appear to be promising. The third round of treatment is demonstrating encouraging results. Beside him, Caroline tightened her grip on his hand. They began their romantic journey 6 months ago, as years of friendship blossomed into something deeper. She inquired about leaving early. "Negative," Michael observed as Emma embraced her daughters. "This was something I had to witness. What is there to see? Some things break for a purpose." He offered a warm smile to Caroline. "At times, the misguided route can guide you to the correct destination." From across the room, Emma's gaze met his. She gave a brief nod, a subtle recognition shared among peers. Nothing else. Nothing short of that. It sufficed. Michael grasped Caroline's hand tightly and pivoted towards the door. Behind him, the sound of the twins' laughter intertwined with the murmur of the crowd, a poignant reminder that life continued its relentless march, regardless of one's consent.